Hello everybody, it's me T, your host, and you're watching Parkitect. Well, welcome to this new series of Parkitect. And this is definitely a time-lapse series. We're gonna make a nice park, and this game is very much like the old roller coasters that you have seen in the past. The game you might all remember. And yeah, it's just an awesome game. It looks a lot like it, but it gives way more opportunity for custom builds, and that's why we're playing Parkitect today. So, the goal for this park, well, I wanted to make some kind of theme park. I did already some terraforming at the beginning before I started making this video, but for now I just want to focus on a medieval theme. So that's what we're gonna do over here. And first off, I looked at some pictures of the internet, and I figured out that there were quite a lot of good looking medieval buildings, and I tried to replicate some of them. So this is one of the examples of the buildings I tried to replicate, and it's like a 3-layered building. I used some different colors. I really liked the white entrances, like the archways. I put a roof above it, and I was not really sure what kind of roof I wanted to put in. So far we've got like 3 types of roofs. Flat, just with a small edge, and then one with just a higher edge as well. And yeah, it just looks so far really well. I also tried to do some stuff with the details tab. So far in this series, everything is vanilla, so I do not use any mods for this. It's all right in the game, and you can do this yourself as well. It's available on Steam, and the workshop is filled with stuff about this series or game. And if you really like park building games and you can't afford Planet Coaster, for example, well, then this is definitely a game you have to check out, because it has so much possibilities. I really enjoyed playing this game. So right now I'm trying to build the tower right in the middle of the structure. So I had 3 layers. First one is the balcony, then we've got like the middle section, which is the big thing in the middle, where just 2 levels high. And then the very highest thing in here is the tower, of course. It's just a really simple tower with a pathway going around it. I really like the pathway going around it, and in the end I even gave the possibility for the people to walk up inside the tower and then onto the other building, the middle section of this building, which really worked out to be great. And a lot of people, are using it right now. So I already have quite a lot of hours into this game, and I've just been enjoying it big time. I tried to record some episodes before, but in the end I did not really like what I was making, and I thought, well, I want a clear, I just want to do it again, try to improve myself, and that's what you're seeing right now. So this is actually my second try on making a park. The previous one was also in the medieval theme, but it did not really work out that well. But this one is definitely a lot better, and I really like it. So yeah, the tower is nearly finished, and after the tower we're gonna work on an attraction. It's not really an attraction, it's not even going to be finished, but it's going to be the monorail, making sure that all the people can go throughout the entire park and just have an awesome time. So far you might have realized that this building is not really close to the entrance at all. There is a huge space in between, and it's kinda lonely where this building is right now. And that's because I decided that I wanted to not just copy like every single design that there is out in Parkitect, because mostly what people do, they make one pathway going into the park with lots of buildings on both sides, and that's then your main entrance, and then in the middle above the path you've got a monorail. I did not want to do that. I wanted it to be a bit more creative, and that's why I decided to try out some other stuff, and my eventual goal is to actually make some kind of square instead of one single street. So this is going to be like a big shop square where with shops, attractions, and lots of medieval buildings. We're all gonna decorate them, and we're all gonna try to make most use of them. Yeah, it's tough thing to do, but it's gonna be alright. So you can see I put in a monorail. I also made a little archway over the path, which you will see how it will look like in the later part of this episode. I really like this building as well, but the first building is definitely one of my favorites. This building is going to be connected to another building, which I in the end did not really like, but in combination with the lots of stuff that I put around that other building, it ended up looking fairly well, I guess. So let's just continue and see what is going on with the monorail. Well, we're just making 2 layers. I decided to make the walls first line of stone and then go over into wood to just give it some kind of deviation. It was a bit difficult getting the path around here because the path did not really fit in that well. We put a roof on it, and I tried to combine 2 different type of roofs, which actually looked as well really well. And I just put some cornices around it to make it just look clean and finished. So if you're wondering about this game, well, I just wanted to tell you something more about it. So far this game is still in alpha. It's in the alpha 2 release, so it's quite an early stage of the game. There's gonna change a lot until this game is going to come out there. So if you might notice something which is not like it is to you in the game you're playing right now, then I'm sorry for that, but things will change over the time. I've already seen some of the upcoming updates, and they look really well. I'm really looking forward to those and also playing them as well, because they will actually change the flow of the gameplay, I think. And yeah, I just really look forward to it. So far this episode is just around 7 minutes into what we're gonna do this episode. It's gonna take around 24 minutes, which I'm not really sure if it's too long. It is definitely not too short, because everything I wanted to do in this episode is actually being done, and it is playing at a relatively high speed to my opinion. But yeah, it just made me wonder if I am doing the correct thing over here, and if you think the episode is just too long, then you can say it to me right down there in the comments, and I will think about it next time and see if I can shorten the episode a bit and still get all the quality content in there which I want to get in there. So far in the game, I really realized that there's just a lot of potential what you can do with this amount of stuff in the game. There are not that many decorating items in the game yet, but still it gives a great opportunity to just make any kind of building you want. For example, in this game it is very much possible to do like a Roman theme as well. You can try to do a medieval theme, as I'm doing right here. An Alpine theme is really possible and really easy to do as well. You can do modern. You will be able to do brick kind of things in the future, because they are gonna release a new update somewhere in the future with new types of walls, new types of decoration. Steampunk will be possible as well, which I'm really looking forward to, because steampunk is just an amazing style that I really want to try out, and I can't wait until they release it in the next update. Well, so far I am going to work on a new building, as you can see over there. It's going to be the building that I at first did not really like, but in the end, with the buildings I'm gonna place around it as well, it came out fairly well, so it doesn't bother me that much anymore. But I definitely wanna keep in mind to try something better for the next time, because in the end I think I could have done better. But actually, going back to what you can do with this game, I've just told you a couple of possibilities, like the Roman theme, the Alpine, modern, steampunk will come up, but there's also a big opportunity for like trying Japanese, or there's also a big possibility for just casual, because the stuff in the game is really casual. You can do some kind of desert theme as well, just keep to the squares, shapes, and don't try anything bulky to put in there. And then you can actually try a lot of stuff out. And that's just something which I did not expect for the number of stuff that's actually in the game. But it gives great and lots of opportunity, which I definitely like, and I'm gonna try it out definitely somewhere in the future. Because I just like the concept of creating stuff with just your own imagination. Of course, I did look up some pictures online to just get some kind of idea what I wanted to go for. And yeah, I like it, and I like the way how this game is going. So you might be able to see that small marker on top of the shop. Well, that marker that you can see is actually caused by the fact that in this game, unlike the normal roller coaster games, we have to supply those shops as well. And for that we need to hire a new type of person. Instead of the cleaner, the engineer, we also need to hire someone who just carries over the supplies to the shops. And those guys are just, they don't do anything special, they just make sure that the shops get their supplies. But it's definitely an interesting addition to the game. It definitely makes it like feel more realistic. Shops don't just are there and have infinite supply, but they also need to buy their supplies, which is also going to cost money, and made it for me really difficult to stay in the positive. As you can see right now, I'm losing money, and even at the point where I am in the game right now, I'm still losing money, and I'm like minus $68,000, which is definitely a lot. So in this case, in this building over here, which is definitely also one of my favorites, I looked up some other pictures on the internet and it gave me some great ideas, but I tried to make some kind of balcony on top of the very first balcony, but I wanted that balcony to be half of the size of the normal one. But due to how you place walls and items in the game, it made it really difficult. I tried to make something with like just pillars, but it just didn't work out. So the opportunity for making half balconies, like just half the size, ain't possible yet, and I really hope they're gonna put that in the final version of the game, because it can make so many more shapes possible. It can give way more depth to the buildings, and I just really hope they're gonna do something like that in the future. So still, with the full balcony that you can see, I still really like this building. It turned out to be a really good building, especially with the buildings connected to it. It's like, it's just a big area of all types of buildings, all medieval style, but all just slightly different. The roofs, I tried to kind of keep them in the same color, but just all I wanted to have make sure that they had small deviations in the colors on the roof. So I just picked a color that was really near to it, but not the same. And it turned out to be really nice. It's just, yeah, it made it feel just a different building, but at the same time they were connected, they were special, and yeah, it just worked out to be really good. So I guess I haven't talked about what my ideas are for like future episodes, and I still think you deserve to know what my ideas are. So that's what I'm gonna tell you right now. And then I'm just thinking about, well, I want to keep this as a good series. I don't just want to do one episode or two. I want to like finish this park as one whole and then put it online so you can download it and look at it for yourself. It's gonna be a huge park, and I definitely want to do a lot of roller coasters. But so far I think the first roller coaster will come in episode 3, because I haven't had time for making a roller coaster inside the medieval square, because it was just a bit crowded with buildings and I was not able to fit a coaster in there. So I had to wait with making some coasters until I actually had the space to make one. And don't worry, there are gonna be a lot of coasters. I definitely want to just fill this park with as many coasters as I like, because coasters they make the game feel really great, and that's why it's one of the favorite games, roller coaster. It's not roller coaster, it's Parkitect, don't get me wrong, but coasters are just one thing I just really like, and I just want to get onto that as soon as I can. So I had already told you about some of the possible teams you can do in this game as well, and I'm definitely thinking about doing some other teams in this park as well. Right now we are working on the medieval square, but once I finish this I'm definitely going to try out some other teams. Maybe Japanese. I think it's gonna be quite tough to do Japanese, but I'm really looking forward to it. Also, I want to work on some kind of desert team, because if I zoom out you might see the orange on the side of the screen every now and then, and that's some kind of like cavern, or I forgot the name for it, I'm sorry. Well, it's some kind of desert area, some kind of cliff that you go off, and then right down there I want to work on some kind of desert area, desert buildings. I'm not really sure what to do with it yet, because I found it to be quite hard to come up with some kind of building designs, and that's due to the items not fully supporting desert buildings, but just partly. But I am definitely going to try something out for that. I think it's a good challenge and I definitely wanna like figure it out. So right now I'm just decorating some of the buildings with some of the possible plants and fences, just to make everything fit in more nicely, because right now the buildings are just placed randomly and it doesn't really fit into like the place they were put into. And that made me feel like I still had to do a lot of work on the surroundings, and I still had to do a lot of work on trying to get more buildings fit in there, just to make it feel a bit more crowded. I did not want it to be too open. I mean, like, it's a square, it's supposed to be like the main attraction of the park, the place where people come in and think about the park like, whoa. So that's what I really wanted to do over here, and that's why I just wanted everything to be really crowded. I did want to put as much detail in there as possible, but still I was really afraid on over detailing it, which I've definitely done before. I've had some cases in which I figured out that I was definitely over detailing stuff, and it made it not look good at all. Over detailing is like one of the things that most people that try to make something look really good make their mistakes, and that's something I'm really sensitive to as well. So I just really have to keep myself from not over detailing stuff, and just I need to try to make what I've got in mind and try to look at some pictures as well. So right now I'm just connecting the two buildings I just made with another building right in the middle. I tried to keep it in the same kind of style as the building on the right, but I also changed the roof to just make it once again look slightly different. I closed it off on the back side because that's where more buildings are going to be as well, and I really liked the roof of this building because of the very nice slope that one of the sides of the building just comes down a little bit lower than the other side, which really made me feel like this building has got a load of potential, and I just wanted to keep it in there. I enjoyed the building, and I now am starting to work on some kind of tower in the middle of the medieval square, and this tower is just an introduction to the other buildings in the place. And once again, this building has been based on a picture that I found on the internet. Pictures just really help you to figure out where you want to go with your build. They just give you a good example of something in real life, which you can then modify and make to your own likings. In the end, I thought this building to be a bit too much square-like. The walls were just really square-like, and there's just no kind of side buildings to this building, which I did not really like. But in the end, with the buildings next to it as well, it came out really nice, and you just have to watch it for yourself to actually see how this building is going to come out. And for the time being, you just have to wait and watch the time lapse. I'm sorry, but I do not want to give too many spoilers over here. So far we have came to a point where I just want to say some more stuff before we finish this episode, and that's I want to say some stuff about the guy who inspired me to do this series, and that's Silverred. I at first watched his series and I really liked what he was doing with just the default stuff in the game, And that made me realize that I did play the game before, but I did not realize that all this kind of editing, detailing was possible with this game. So yeah, I just looked at him and I realized that I wanted to play this game as well. So thank you very much, Silver Red, for showing me this game and making me realize how much potential this game has as well. I really enjoyed so far, and I definitely want to keep going on this for quite a while, because yeah, it's just a really nice game. So right now we are approaching the point where this series is, or this episode, not a series, this episode is going to end. We reach nearly the end of this episode, and you can now see me work on the last building before this episode will end. I say this episode will end a lot, but don't mind me when saying stuff over and over again. I hope you don't mind. Well, this last building is really the same style as the like the tower right in the middle, and it just connects to it with a little bridge, and I'm going to put a path underneath it as well, just to make it possible for people to have some kind of shortcuts from one place to another. Really makes it feel like it's just a place not built with a plan, which were most of the medieval towns in the past. Most of those medieval towns were just built at random and not really thought of at the beginning how they wanted to make it. And that's why those places are like, they feel really nice. When you get into some of the really old medieval towns, they just feel like home, because yeah, just everything is different, and you can take the most strange paths from one place to another and see amazing stuff, and that's what I wanted to recreate here. So I just finished the last building, and I'm just gonna say goodbye for now. I really hope you liked it, I really hope you did, and if you did, well, be sure to follow up the experience next time, because guys, I'm signing out. Have fun with the very last bits of the time lapse, and then I will see you next time. Bye bye.